So my name's Leanne Geigle. I don't know if you want to say anything, Mariana. So I am a wellness specialist with PEHP. I work with Jody, who helped set up your wellness programs here, but I'm the counterpart. I do state agencies, so I've been working workforce services here in DCFS and all of those guys, but then Jody, my counterpart, works with the cities and what we call LGRP, local government risk pools. So we're going to talk about the benefit and the role that humor can play in your health and well-being. So that's why we're here today. So hopefully I better make this work. Or I may be standing up here and making it click, but we'll see. So you guys have started a wellness program here, correct?
Correct.
Kind of, okay. So, oh, there we go. Okay, we're good to go now. So, we came with the innate ability to be able to find joy and laughter. It's part of who we are. It's part of our DNA. So, if you think about a baby, when they come into the world, they have, within a few weeks they're smiling, and a few more weeks they're laughing, and it's part of who we are, the ability to find joy, and it's a natural part of our life and innate. And if you think about when you were younger, and you're playing outside, and you're with your friends, and you're looking at roly-poly bugs under the rocks, and you're just in the moment, and you're just enjoying life, and being together and laughing. And the thing that's crazy about it is kids laugh as much as 400 times a day. And adults, we laugh maybe 10 if we're lucky. Wow. Yeah, what happened? Well, life happens. Life happens. So, yeah. You have certain expectations that are put on you that you need to perform. You've got you've got peer pressure that as you're, you got to put that soccer ball in the goal, and you've got school and you need to get grades, and you start this awkward dating thing after junior high school. Don't you think junior high school is kind of a cruel joke? You put all these insecure preteens and teens together, and just what a hard thing. And it cracks me up. Kids want to grow up so bad, don't they? They want to be so grown up, and they try so hard, but when you get here, you got all this work and marriage and relationships and children and finances, and it's just not that much fun when you get here, right? Life is stressful, and it's just not that much fun. So let's talk about stress for a minute. Let me just say, this looked brown and muddy, and they had all these black dots on their screen up at the road, and it was hard to see. So at least you've got some kind of accurate colors, because it was all just brown. So anyway, that didn't help with engaging the crowd either, I'll just say that. So, but let's just talk a little bit about stress and how that's different for everybody and what it is. And there's no real definition for stress, but I do like one that I heard that says it's the physical or emotional response to change. What's ever more constant in our life than change? And so life is ever changing, but it's when we feel threatened or our balance feels a little bit off, and we're just kind of, feel a little, the homeostasis is gone. So the takeaway from this slide is it's not the situation that causes the stress, as you learned at the conference. It's the uh-oh and that trigger in our brains that triggers the stress response or the fight or flight response. And so let's just do an analogy of, let's say you're climbing up here in the hills on the way, up in the canyon, and all of a sudden the snakes come slithering out from under the rocks. Oh yeah, okay, you don't like snakes? So you hate snakes. So what's the first thing you're going to do? Run. Okay, so you are going to hightail it out of there. Your heart rate's going to increase. Your blood pressure is going to accommodate you. Your muscles are ready to go. And you're going to head down that hill away from the snake to safety. Okay, same scenario. Let's say you're hiking up in the hills. All of a sudden, the snake's slithering out from under the rocks. Difference is, you might be a student at Utah State. You might be a herpetology student, and you might want to study that snake. You might move toward it. You might observe it. You might actually pick it up. The situation hasn't changed, but your response to the situation has changed, right? So, wait, you mean I don't have to get angry at the driver that cut me off last night coming up here, Yeah, I do. I have a choice. I don't have to I don't have to get angry at my son who constantly leaves his wet towels on our his bedroom floor, which makes me crazy. No, we each can choose how we're going to react to every situation, always. So that puts a little bit of responsibility on us in thinking that, wait, I don't have to have that knee-jerk, angry, stress reaction. I can sit back and choose how I'm going to respond to this situation. So I want you to think about that, next time you're faced with kind of a stressful situation. So there's two kinds of stresses. I know we often don't think of stress as being good, but it really is. It keeps us on our toes. It helps us to move forward. Deadlines, hate them, but you got to appreciate them because they cause you to accomplish things and get things done. So sharpens our concentration, all the things on that slide. It motivates us to do our best. So that's eustress. I mean, a new baby could be eustress. Buying a new home, eustress. It's good stress, but it's still stress. Versus distress, or what we say is stress, where you feel like choking the living daylights out of somebody who desperately needs it. And we all have those people in our lives, right? We do. Okay, so what happens when we experience that uh-oh or that fight or flight stress response? And thank goodness we've been wired with that because it is for self-preservation. It's how we survived when we were cavemen, is that fight or flight. So our blood pressure rises and our heart rate increases and our breathing becomes shallow and rapid and our muscles are tense and ready for action so we can spring into action and our sugars are released into the bloodstream and gets to those muscles so they can move. Cortisol released, adrenaline kicks in, all of those things in a split second. It's pretty amazing that innate ability for survival is so powerful. So that's what happens. The problem is our bodies are wired for acute stress. That's where it's intense. Let's see if my pointer will work there, not that far away. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so it's intense right here, but then you relax and you get that homeostasis back to where, you're okay. Life is good. I can move along. But the problem with today's stress is it's much less intense, but more chronic. It's those little irritants that just keep working at you and driving you crazy and making you feel that stress. So it's just this chronic, but you don't get that homeostasis, that relaxation afterwards until, you go to bed at night or whatever. And so that's why we're seeing so many stress-related illnesses like you see on this list. I like to make the analogy of pushing down on the accelerator of a car. When you push down too long and you've got the pedal to the metal and it's unrelenting, eventually something in that car is going to break down. And the same is true with our bodies. Eventually something in our bodies is going to break down. And that's why we start to see the heart diseases and the digestive problems and the depression, the anxiety, the whole laundry list of all of the different kinds of diseases as a result of stress. Let's take a look at some job statistics is from the American Institute of Stress. And they say 80% of workers feel stress on the job. Nearly half say they need help learning how to cope. So thank you for being here today. That's good. Hopefully this information will help you some. 42% say their coworkers need the help. And 25% say they felt like screaming or shouting because of job stress. Wow. And 14% say they feel like striking one of their coworkers, but they didn't. Yeah, that's kind of... But if you think about it, your muscles are all tense and ready for action, right? And one of the best responses to, or the best treatments for stress is physical activity, and you can give a good left hook, and that could accommodate that muscle, and that could kind of help. You can see how it could, but no, not the best way to handle that. So then up to 90% of all of the visits to primary care doctors are stress-related. Wow. But you think of that laundry list of symptoms, if you've got headaches or backaches or neck aches or blood pressure or thirsty or memory or just all of those are stress-related and anxiety. Workplace stress is as bad for the heart as smoking and high cholesterol. Woo. Yeah. Yeah, no, you don't want to do that either. You're just going to learn how to rethink your stress, right? 74% of employees are experiencing a personal energy crisis, and they're increasingly exhausted, overwhelmed, and disengaged. See, you've already got the bad stress with the work stress. You don't want to add that more to your body, having the smoking stress. So no, not a good idea. But anyway, I would surmise and submit to you that one of the biggest reasons that we're so beset by stress is because we're forced to deal with imperfect people every day, and we are not well trained to do so. You think? I don't know too many colleges or universities that teach you how to be a good daughter or a good husband or a good son-in-law or a good friend or a good sister. And yet the most important roles we play in our lives are the ones that we have the least amount of training for, and yet we're expected to play them well. And who decides what a good friend is? What is a good daughter-in-law? What does that mean? If you're a good daughter-in-law, you do what? You know, so yeah, no wonder we're so beset by stress. And I would venture to say that probably the things that are probably stressing you out most in your life right now are some people maybe in your inner circles of your family. Maybe not, maybe it is just work, but usually, you know, you've got a teenage kid that's making you crazy, or you've got, you know, a terrible tour or something, I don't know. So yeah, we are all imperfect people just trying to figure it out here on this planet Earth. So anyway, and I really believe that life is meant to be fun, that we're here to enjoy ourselves. And so let's break up. It's not me, it's you, stress. So we're going to talk about ways to do that. So what do you do? I mean, you can bottle it up and you can huddle in a corner and you can do all these things, or you can do what this guy did. So a little passive-aggressive approach, right? Okay, thank you for laughing, because the guys up in Elwood did not laugh. Okay? I needed it was a rough morning, I'll just say. So laughter, you can diminish anxiety. It strengthens your immune system. It increases your tolerance to pain. It raises oxygen levels. It reduces the incidence of arterial blockage, angioplasties, and heart attacks. It can do. So we're gonna talk about a study that showed that it improved heart disease. Besides that, it makes you feel better, and it certainly is better than the alternative, for sure. Okay, so when you guys are trying to manage your stress, what kinds of things do you do? What are in your stress toolbox, if you will? Music, okay, good. Music, anything else? Okay, I know a lot of people like to do it. It's an active, you're away from you get out of your head a little bit, and you're angry, you clean.
She'll take you with her.
That's funny. Yeah, she'll clean you right up. Well, I hope maybe you'll think about laughter as being one of the tools in your toolbox now. There are so many amazing resources online and on YouTube that are available. Something that just popped up was the old Harvey Korman, Carol Burnett. Do you know any of those clips that are just historical? Pull those up and just, you can't help but laugh. There's so many things. Getting 8 hours of sleep. So we're talking about things you can do to help reduce your stress. You know, sleep is underrated. People don't realize the importance of that. People think you have to do it because you're tired, but there's so many important things that happen during the sleep cycle that don't happen any other time. This is when your red blood cells are produced. This is when your memories are stored. This is when your muscles regenerate. This is when your wounds heal, is during the REM sleep cycle. You need to have about 3 of those cycles during a night. So knowing those things makes sleep a priority as much as good as diet and exercise. It really is critical, and we don't get enough sleep. So think about that as part of your stress management tools. Decreasing caffeine. Yeah, that was a tough one this morning, as all those guys had their big cups of coffee this morning. So yeah, I said, there's some research that shows that it does contribute to anxiety and irritability, and just maybe want to cut it back a little bit. Anyway, what are you going to say? So yeah, eating fruits and vegetables. The recommendation is 5 a day. More vegetables than fruits if possible. Exercise, the recommendation for that is 5 days a week, 30 minutes a day, and actually they're even saying 30 to 60 minutes a day, 5 days a week. So whatever it is that you enjoy, that is the best exercise. People will say, what's the best exercise for me to do? The one that you will do, the one that you enjoy. So just do something. We sit too much. We are so much of a sedentary society. We sit way too much. And so we try to encourage people that after an hour of sitting, get up and move for 3. sit for 60, move for 3. Or since Mariana's helping with the Wellness Council, there's a Wellness, Ogden Workforce Services. I loved what they did with this. After an hour, they had lower cubicles, so it was a little bit different situation in a big room. And so a woman, her name was Leanne too, she would wave a white flag on the hour, and anybody that wasn't with a client or that was available on the hour, they would come into a room similar to this. This one would be kind of hard because of the wainscoting stuff, but they would go into a room, and for 1 minute, they would either plank, take resistance bands, wall sit, and do some kind of physical activity for 1 minute, and then after the minute, they would scatter and go back. Isn't that a great idea? No, you're looking, I think it's a great idea. So you could do crunches, you could do push-ups, you could do whatever for 1 minute, go back to your office. So I challenge you to do something like that. Just move for a minute. And then in an hour, whoever else was available, they'd reconvene and move for 1 minute and then go back. So I loved that. Don't smoke. Of course, that's obvious, but you know, like she said, I'm going to start smoking if my workplace stress. But let me just tell you, it makes sense. You know why? Yeah. So yeah, I have friends who've smoked, and they say it helps me reduce my stress. I mean, it helps me relax. They claim, okay, so here's why. Think about it. One of the automatic responses to stress is shallow, rapid breathing, right? What are you doing when you're smoking? Deep, slow breaths. Of course you're going to relax. Of course you are. You're combating the natural response to stress by taking slow, deep breaths. You can do that, you know, without this. So that's a good thing. Yeah. Quiet time and meditation. With this, we don't talk about this enough. It's becoming more up and coming, I think. But, you know, we take a shower every day for our bodies. But the quiet time and meditation is really kind of like taking a shower for your mind. If you can just sit and be quiet and clear your head as much as possible, thoughts are going to pop in. You just acknowledge them, let them go, focus back on your breathing. It's an amazing thing to get you back to present. And a healthy body is less likely to react to stress. So talking about mindfulness, where do you fit? Are you one of those who worries and ruminates and stresses and multitasks? Or are you more present and mindful and centered and in the moment? And which of those sides do you think feels better? You know, I would pride myself on being this one over here. I used to, you know, I got so much done, I thought, but I was kind of a crazy mess, and I wasn't, you know, peace and calm, and you know, you shouldn't be that way all the time. I get that, but being present and centered, because being in the present it's the only time that you have any choice to do anything about anything that exists is right now. And I love a quote that says, if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. And if you're at peace, you're living in the present. Think about that. If you're past, you're depressed. Future, you're anxious. Present, peace. Really, and so that resonated with me. That spoke with me. And when I'm thinking about things that are making me anxious, I catch myself living in the future and thinking of future things. Just the awareness of that, I'll just take some deep breaths, and it brings me back to being present. Or if I'm feeling depressed about a loss or a sadness, or, you know, I lost a daughter 18 years ago. I miss her terribly. It's awful. It's the worst. But I think about that. I come back. I recognize, okay, this isn't doing you any good. Take some deep breaths. Get back to present. And it really does help. It really makes a difference. So anyway, try that. The mindfulness. The dog gets it. He knows how to do this. We just... So, yeah. I like this quote that Bill Waterton says, we're so busy watching out for what's just ahead of us that we don't take time to enjoy where we are. How many of you are thinking about what you're going to make for dinner tonight, you know, instead of being here right now? How many are thinking about, you know, tomorrow, your vacation next week, or whatever? Be here now. It's powerful. It can be powerful. So what are the benefits of laughter? There's social and physical and emotional benefits. It strengthens our relationships socially, attracts others to us, it enhances teamwork, helps diffuse conflict, and promotes group bonding. We have this cubicles that we in our office, and if I hear somebody doing a big belly laugh around the corner, I got to get up and see what's going on, right? You want to go check it out. It does enhance and draw us to people. And Victor Borgen, a comedian, It's the shortest distance between two people. Mental health benefits. It adds joy and zest to our lives. It eases anxiety and fear, relieves stress, it elevates mood, it enhances resilience, dissolves distressing emotions, and biochemically, you cannot feel anxious, sad, angry at the same time you're laughing. Your brain won't let you do the same thing, do two opposite things like that at the same time. It won't do that. So, and it puts deposits in our emotional bank account so everyone can withdraw. So, physical benefits. It boosts our immunity, it lowers our stress hormones, decreases pain. You can read all that, relaxes your muscles, prevents heart disease. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Using 15 facial muscles, and it stimulates hormonal activity that actually boosts our immune system. So all kinds of psychological, emotional, physical benefits. So back several years ago, the University of Maryland actually did a study on the benefits of laughter, and they took 300 people, 150 that were actually diagnosed with heart disease, 150 that were cleared of any heart disease issues. And they put them in similar situations. They also had them take a test. They did true false, they did a multiple choice, and they wanted to see how a person would react in certain situations. And so one of them was like, if you're eating at a restaurant and someone spills water on you, would you find that not amusing at all, or be amused but not show it, or laugh hardly? Anyway, just kind of looking at that. Or there was another one, you go to a costume party and someone else has the same costume or outfit that you have on, how would you feel, kind of thing, how would you respond? And so what they found was that people with the heart disease were less likely to recognize humor or use it to get out of an uncomfortable situation, and they laughed less, even in positive situations, displayed more anger and hostility. So they were much more stoic. That's not going to make me laugh. Kind of like the guys this morning. I wonder how many of them have heart disease. They weren't going to give me anything. So they, even in positive situations, so think about that. If there's someone in your life who has heart disease, do they tend to be a little less lighthearted, if you will, a little more heavy-hearted? Kind of makes some sense, So laughter can be the best medicine, and it gives us power, helps us cope, keeps us balanced, provides perspective, and reduces hardening of the attitudes. Dear Mom and Dad, I'm sorry I haven't written, but all my stationery was destroyed when the dorm burned down. I'm now out of the hospital, and the doctor said I would be fully recovered soon, and I've also moved in with the boy who rescued me since most of my things were destroyed by the fire. So, oh yes, I know that you've always wanted a grandchild, so you'll be pleased to know I'm pregnant, and you will have one soon. Love, Mary. Oh, geez, yeah. P.S. There was no fire. My health is perfectly fine, and I'm not pregnant. In fact, I don't even have a boyfriend. However, I did get a D in French and a C in math and chemistry, and I just want to make sure you keep things in perspective. I love Mary. I think she's brilliant, right? But how often, think about that in your lives, how often do you overreact to situations that really aren't that big of a deal? And all the time, and have that knee-jerk reaction when in the whole scheme of things, this really is not that big of a deal. So we do that. And so watch that with you, and try not to have that kind of irrational thinking that goes along with that. Okay, we're going to watch a video here in a minute, hopefully if everything works. The woman, it's an old video. The woman's Loretta LaRouche is her name. She's a humorist, and her goal and her mission is to stamp out irrational thinking. And she talks about a gentleman at the beginning of it named Norman Cousins, and she doesn't tell you a whole lot about him, and so I want to just add a little bit more to his story. So he's diagnosed in '64, it's been a while, ankylosing spondylitis, and he was the editor of the Saturday Evening Review. Well, they gave him 6 months to live. It's an extremely painful condition. And he surmised, as he did research as a journalist and such, that if negative stress causes disease, what happens if I switch that to positive stress? And I laughed. And so he thought it could improve his health. So he checked himself out of the hospital. And you can see how old this is, with the Three Stooges and Marx Brothers and all of Laurel and Hardy. And he watched videos, and he read funny things, comics, and he laughed. And he found it helped. Helped him sleep, helped his pain. help all kinds of things. So in the Journal of the American Medical Association, they recognize laughter therapy as being beneficial for patients with chronic illness. So if you have someone in your life who is experiencing pain and discomfort, and, you know, put them in front of a YouTube video. See if it doesn't help, you know, and make a difference. He actually cured himself of this disease and wrote a book about his journey called The Anatomy of an Illness. So it's kind of a remarkable story. So now, whoops, let's see if this will work. I'm just going to be up here just in case we might have to juggle off to something else. You guys hear that?
Well, we're back for more laughter. Did any of you have to call people you don't like in between? Just so you could suffer for a few minutes? Well, I think we're going to go back to our laugh and sort of recap it so we can get through the whole thing. And this is very important, the laugh and the guffaw, because this can really build up your immune system and help you throughout life. You actually can stack up, sort of have residual benefits. Well, Norman Cousins used this to help heal himself of something called ankylosing spondylitis, and that took me forever to even say. And he found that when he laughed for 2 hours, he didn't have to take pain medication for quite some time. So let's all try this. Are you ready? Here we go. Big toothy grin. Now remember, it has to be wide and toothy. Now I want you to show your molars. If you don't have any, show your gums. And we need everybody to do this, including the men. Sometimes men have a little bit of a problem getting involved and looking a little silly in front of each other. You know that routine. That's why they never ask for directions. You've been with a man when you've been lost, haven't you? You say, where are we? They say, we're almost there. Well, why don't you ask that person? Well, what does he know? Well, he knows where you are. That's why Moses was in the desert for 40 years. If he had had a woman with him, she would have asked the burning bush. They would have been out of there. So now we have everybody involved, don't we? We did our big toothy grin. Now open your eyes. This makes you look alert. Now raise your eyebrows. This makes you look tall and thin. That's your new low-fat face. Now everybody, reach down and grab hold of your belly. Keeping in mind that you must take ownership of whatever you've created. If you fed it, it's yours. Now, some people are lucky. They have different sections they can hang on to. So just decide which layer you want to hang on to. Now, if you don't have enough of your own, hang on to the person next to you. Now, the next part is very easy. I want you to look at somebody's face so that you can experience joy yourself by looking at somebody else. So look at somebody's face, hang on to your belly, and on the count of 3, we're all going to go, and we're going to try to laugh for 30 seconds. I don't know if I can handle that much joy. Well, see if you can handle it anyway. You ready? Here we go. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. point every time when I express a desire to do this with adults in my workshops, the first response is, If I had been saying this to a group of 3 or 4-year-olds, and I said, we're going to laugh for 30 seconds, you know what would happen? Practically the whole group would go, I could do it for much longer. But see, the adult in us, because we've grown to get to the point where we don't have time to enjoy ourselves, I mean, I may have fun someday. That's too long. 30 seconds is too long. Have you ever had a kid stop at your house, 3 or 4 years old, knock on the door, say, can I come in? I'm exhausted from playing. Maybe I can clean your toilet or something. We even had some people time it. They were timing it to see how long. Wanted to make sure it didn't go too long. And there's wonderful benefits to laughter. There really are. You ought to have a humor room in your house. You ought to have one in the place you work at. You should have a joy gang. A jollyologist. Well, when people play along the way, they actually increase productivity, don't they? Because you stop watching the clock. You stop saying, is it time for my break? Is it Friday yet? Maybe Sunday I'll enjoy myself. But I don't have too much time. Maybe when I go on a trip, but they don't pay me enough. When I get the money, the pitiful substance, I'll go someplace I don't like, and I'll be unhappy there. And then you die. Your family gets your money, and they go on a trip. So don't wait. Laugh every day. It's very important. Learn from children. Children laugh just about any time they feel like it because they're in the moment, don't they? And they try to get what they need when they can, too, don't they? They're like woodpeckers. Anytime any one of my grandchildren comes to visit and they want something, they never stop. I want a cookie. I want a lollipop. Wait a minute. I want a cookie. I want a lollipop. Wait a minute. I want a cookie. I want a cookie. I want a cookie. I want a cookie. Woodpecker drills. And they do things very spontaneously. Unfortunately, I don't have all of my grandchildren nearby, but I have one that periodically I get to see, and she's a hoot. I go over there for treatment periodically. I went over there recently, and she was standing stark naked in the living room, in high heels. And she was applauding herself. When's the last time you did that? I decided I was going to try that because I loved it. And I like to sort of do these things to my husband because he's much more conservative than I am. So I greeted him one night, stark naked, in wingtips. And the first thing he said is, what are the neighbors going to think? I said, I don't know. I haven't shown them yet. But see, that's a typical response why a lot of us don't do a lot of things, even laugh. I mean, when you're doing that, a little exercise, how many of you feel foolish or you start to think, is anybody watching? I wonder if anybody's watching. I wonder if they are watching. Well, you know they are everywhere, don't you? I saw them in a van coming up here in the expressway. See, it's very easy to get tuned into they because you start learning this principle when you're a little kid. Little kids are here and there. They move around a lot, don't they? They never stop moving. They make funny faces. But by the time you're 3, you're given 350,000 no's. Stop it. Sit down. Be quiet. Who do you think you are? Just who do you think you are? Do any of you remember the fact that you couldn't use the good scissors? Please don't use my good scissors. Well, what does that mean? What pair should I use? I guess I should use the pair that don't cut. Well, you start to internalize that information, don't you? You start to put yourself on the back burner. You start to wait. Maybe there's a right time to do these things. So you start saving stuff. Start waiting for a special occasion. I remember as a kid I had a pair of underpants my mother didn't let me wear because they were too good. I still have them. They just don't fit anymore. That's the whole point, is it? To keep them new so they stay in the drawer? You get to have an observance once in a while. How many of you have good dishes? Nobody can sit at the table and use the good dishes, especially the family. The family doesn't deserve these things. They get to eat off the chip china. Drink it out of the jelly glasses. Then when people you don't know come over, you say, hey, come on in. You can eat off these dishes. We don't know who you are, but it's fine. How about the good room? How many of you tell your family, please, don't go in that room? I just cleaned it. No problem. We'll sit in a filthy room. Maybe we can go outside and look at through the window of the clean room. And then, most importantly, there's that real special occasion, death. Have you ever been to a funeral where people actually walk around saying, they look fabulous. They've never looked this good. Have you ever seen them look this good? That's because somebody finally went to their closet, got their good stuff, and put it on them. A special occasion. Think of the rules and regulations so many of us are invested in from this committee that's up there judging, telling you what to do, how to do it, when to do it. How many of you made sure that you organized your home before you left today? Just in case. One of the things my mother always said to me is, you never know. I don't know what you don't know, but you never know. So, of course, you have to make your bed, because you never know. What if somebody stops by? What if the bed checkers come over? So you go through your whole life with this fear that people you have never met might come over your house and check your beds. And you tell people, I'm not going out. I didn't finish the bed. I had some people in a workshop once who told me they could never leave their house until they did all the dishes. I said, take them with you. Put them in the car. Then they'll never find them. And think of the underwear. How many of you wear your underwear every day? Now, do you put it on, and as you put it on, you say, oh, joy, ecstasy. I can't wait to take a look at them periodically. No, we wear them because we could be in an accident. We don't want to be in an accident, right? Especially if we don't have clean underwear on. Nobody stops to think rationally about these things. The fear is so embedded. What if I am in an accident? Will my underwear stay clean for long? And see, this is at the root of a lot of our irrationality. And irrationality is what causes upsetness. And upsetness is what causes anxiety. And anxiety often leads to depression. And then, bingo, no humor. So I would say, take a look at your committee. Who's on it? See your mind like a big bus. Put your committee on board and take them for a ride. look in the mirror in the morning and say, I'm driving the bus. I don't think I'll wear underpants, and I'm not making my bed either. See, if you really look at life the way it's meant to be, you're the only one that can make you happy. No one else can. You're driving the bus, ultimately. Now, let me give you a few quirky ways to laugh at yourself, because everybody in this room's a joke. They just don't get it sometimes. We're all a walking sitcom, aren't we? And there's nothing funnier than the things that come out of your lips. How many of you have ever gone someplace and told somebody, I always get the slow line? Oh, always get the slow line. How many of you get the slow line? And of course, we want to tell people over and over so we can suffer before we go. Then when we get there and we get it, we're so excited because we were right. But we really don't have to get overly anxious about being in a slow line, especially if we exaggerate the context of what we tell ourselves what ordinarily disturbs us. Exaggerate the humor in it. The next time you go to the supermarket, look around. Say, my God, they're back. See, oftentimes irrationality is because we think we're the center of the universe. It's as if there's a plot that people are sent to wherever we are. So if they are wherever we are, enjoy them. Say, wow, it's so fascinating having you in the store with me again. I use this principle sometimes with people when they're catastrophizing and awfulizing, especially in supermarkets, because it's very funny. I had this woman next to me. She was beating a loaf of bread to death. She said, every time I come in here, it fills up with people. I said, isn't that odd? The same thing happens to me. She said, something's going on. I said, well, I noticed the manager. He goes in his office, and he's calling people up. And they're coming here to see you and I. She finally got it, and she went, She dropped her quarter right in the aisle. Now, a few humorous ways of seeing stress a little differently. Remember, we said wit and wisdom. I would suggest you get yourself a pair of these. Use them when you're driving through traffic. Especially when you have to merge. People don't let you in, put them on. I've done it many times, and they often go, come on in. Use them when you're driving, when you're in the supermarket. Get your cart, beep, beep. You'll notice that the kids get it right away. They wave, and they say, hi, lady. You can hear the parents, don't talk to that woman. More importantly, use them on yourself. Look in the mirror every day and say, how serious is this? Get yourself some costumes. For those of you who are perfectionists and you want your house viewed by all people because of the things you've done, get yourself a cape. I have a little ta-da cape. Put this on, swoop around your house. Tell people, look at the oven. I just finished cleaning it. Swoop around your workplace. Tell people it's a good thing I'm here. I don't know what would happen if I wasn't in. If you like to be in charge and you're really in control and you love everybody to know it, get yourself one of these. Put this on. Walk around your workplace. I'm in charge of everything. I'm not even going to the bathroom. I can't leave my desk. Try it at home if you're having an argument with a loved one. This is what I love to do. I put the hat on, I go out in the yard, and I stand there. My husband always says, get in the house. I just fold my arms and say, did I win? He always says, come in. You won. Because he's got the neighbors on his committee. Try it when your kids are nagging you and they want you to take them places and you're sick and exhausted. Say, come on, I'll take you to the mall. Let's go. You may not be ready for that version. You may need a training version. And for those of you who are martyrs, I'm sure there's some of you out there, you probably want to get yourself one of these so you can be as helpful as possible without doing a thing for yourself. You know me, I'm always there. I'm almost dead, but it doesn't matter. Someday when I'm gone, they'll know how really good I was. Yes, and then they'll sell you dishes. Now, of course, if none of this information has mattered to you one way or the other, and you want to insist on catastrophizing, awfulizing, whining, and moaning, then I would get a whip. Anytime you have the opportunity, self-flagellate. As soon as you start the day, God, it's awful. It's raining and I'm bloated. But for the most part, keep this in mind. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift. That's why they call it the present. Thank you.
That's Loretta. I wish the sound were up better. You guys could have, anyway, we tried. So that's available on YouTube, just The Joy of Stress, Loretta LaRouche. There's a more updated version of her. I heard her on a talk radio not very long ago, so she's still around. Just, again, trying to just get rid of irrational thinking. And she talked about that no humor cycle, if you remember, that you have that irrational thinking. You know, every time I come into the store, it fills up with people, kind of like we're the center of the universe. Then you become upset. And then you become anxious. And then, depression kicks in. And then there's the no humor, bam, she says. So she has some suggestions of things to do to make things a little better. Make a joy list, something relatively easy and pleasant to do. So I think, they say for positive mental health, everyone needs two things every day. We need time alone, some time to ourselves every day, and some time to do something that we enjoy doing. And I think when we get in these real stress modes, that those things don't come real easily. We can't think of something that would nourish us, that would be our soul food, that would help us through maybe a difficult, stressful time. So she suggests writing things down, whatever it is that's your soul food. And you said music, listen to music's on there. A bubble bath, a walk, call a friend, needlepoint, handwork, just writing gratitude, making an appointment to talk to a therapist, calling a friend, go for a walk, enjoy a sunset, any of those things. And so do that. And she said place it on something relatively obvious. So when you, like your refrigerator, bathroom mirror, when you're in one of those Calgon take me away modes, that you can connect into one of those things at time of crisis for you, a kind of emotional letdown, and take care of yourself and do a little bit of self-care. The other thing is giving the gift of joy. How do you show up at work? Are you a Debbie Downer? Or are you a Sally Sunshine? You smile at somebody? Are you, what kind of energy are you bringing with you? Experiencing the joy of everyday life. Stop and smell the roses. Enjoy the sunsets. Move joyfully. And thinking joyfully, and is the glass half empty or is it half full? Is it partly cloudy or is it mostly sunny? We have control over those things, and sometimes you have to, if you wake up in a crabby mood, you have to fake yourself out and act like you're in a good mood, and eventually your body and your emotions will catch up. So she says, catch yourself thinking in a negative way, and if you do that, you can change that. Own that only you are the one that can make you feel a certain way. because the meaning that you add to the event is what makes us feel that way. So you don't feel angry until you have an angry thought first. So the thoughts equal the feelings, then the actions come, and the results after that. So replacing the thought with an upgrade like gratitude or laughter. They talked a little bit about this at a conference that we had last week about the importance of gratitude and being grateful. And sometimes I know there are those days that it's hard to find anything to be grateful for. You've just had one of those. But one of the practices that have helped me that's been very helpful is to actually at the end of the day, I stop and try to find 3 fortunate things that happened during the day. And like the other day, I hit every green light on my way to work. I go 7 miles to work, and that is rare in Salt Lake. I hit every light green. I'm like, wow, okay, I'll take it. Or if you've been to Costco, you know the parking lot's a joke. You always have to go out in the North 40. I actually pulled in one day, and someone was pulling out the very first one right at the door. Never happened. I appreciated that. So something fortunate. Those were fortunate things that happened. A friend called that I hadn't talked to in a long time. That was fortunate. So I challenge you to think of 3 fortunate things that happened during the day for you. Make an effort to create opportunities to laugh. Purposefully watching funny movies or comedy clubs or, jokes or humorous clips on YouTube. There's millions of them. Hosting game night, laughter comes easily with those things. Humor sections of bookstores, children, they are the masters. Remember, they laugh 400 times a day. They're the masters of joy and of laughter. Doing something silly, go to a laughter yoga class. Have you guys ever heard of laughter yoga? It's a real thing. It actually was started in Mumbai, India, of all places, by a physician. And so these are some laughter yoga groups, and here's what they do. They gather in like parks or community centers, and just like that, Loretta had people do it, grabbing their stomach and start laughing. Your body can't differentiate between fake laughter and real laughter. And so after a few minutes of this seconds of fake laughing, you're really laughing, And so it's the benefits that come with that. And people say, I'm not taking my antidepressants anymore. I go and do this every morning and start my day off with laughter. So anyway, it's something to consider. I don't know if they have anything at Utah State. I know they do at Salt Lake Community College. Some actual laughter yoga courses and classes. And some team building groups have laughter yoga instructors come to do that at work sites. So doctors are beginning to realize what a valuable tool laughter is, and they should be writing prescriptions for it. It says a laughter yoga instructor. So I made a prescription that said everyone should laugh every 4 hours for at least 5 minutes and repeat daily. And that's not even enough. So as we wind down, let's just find humor wherever we go. It's all around us. You just need to look. And these are all real things that we found, that we stuck on there. So I like this one. Yeah. Yep. Or this. Some of these are dumb, I know, but yeah. Oh, sharp edges on this sign. That's pretty important to make a sign. Not the bridge is out ahead. That's kind of dumb. Oh, yeah, silly memes, but yeah, you've probably seen that one before around. Whoops, sorry. If you've ever worked for a doc or in a hospital, it's so true. Whoops. I don't know the difference. Do you guys know the difference? Yeah, that's kind of cool. Okay. Okay, so in closing, we're going to just do the top 10 reasons you should laugh, kind of like David Letterman. He had his top 10, right? If you ever watched him. So number 10, laughter gets you out of your head, away from your troubles, and literally laugh it off. You'll feel better. Number 9, laugh to strengthen your immune system. Your immune system is boosted for at least 12 hours after watching a funny video, and it's cheap medicine. Laugh to reduce stress and tension. Laughter really is a release. That's a laughter yoga group at a senior center. Kind of cute. Number 7, laugh because life is too precious to be filled with excess seriousness. Number 6, laugh to reduce depression. Your body reduces endorphins, so you actually do feel better. Number 5, there's no right or wrong way to laugh. Anyone can do it. There's no skill required, and these are all laughter yoga groups. There is a World Laughter Yoga Day, too, by the way. And number 4, laugh to feel young again. It is anti-aging. Number 3, laughter is one of the easiest and cheapest ways to relax your body. Number 2, a good belly laugh is great exercise, working both the stomach and the facial muscles. And the number 1 reason to laugh is because life is just simply better when you're laughing. So thank you very much. Thanks, guys. I didn't get that this morning, so I appreciate that. It was a tough crowd. I feel bad for Diane. I wish she were up here to see that this really can be a fun presentation. It can. So you tell her that, okay?
Thanks, ladies, gentlemen, and gentlemen.
Thanks. You guys have a good day. You guys have a